I'm Beth, and these are my memories. To the complex and precious people who appear in them, thank you. I forgive you, and I'm sorry. You shaped me, and I carry you still. In remembering, I've come to see us all more clearly, not as villains or saints, but as humans doing the best we knew how. I must have forgotten. Until now. Judith celebrated her 13th birthday party at a skating rink in Lafayette, where we had all learned to storm around counterclockwise until we ran into the wall or fell on our faces, the skin on our forearms squeaking into floor burns. As kids, we always called it Aca Y Alla, never realizing it might be Spanish, Aca Y Alla, for here and there. Fitting, since all you do in roller skates is roll here and there and here and there. I wasn't a bad skater. It was easier to roller skate than to ice skate. But at least with ice skates, I never slid sideways. I might tumble over a cornstalk, but I never just wiped out. Even when I had learned how to cross my feet in the heavy, clunky quad-wheel roller skates, one over the other and the turns, I sometimes still got tangled up, or as they say in motorcycles, took a low side fall. I lost less skin on that terrazzo as time went by, and eventually I grew fairly confident. Judith's friends, Nancy and Ella Kay, rode from Fowler to the skating rink with us, all teenage girl excitement and certainty that by the end of the night, all three would be in love. The pickings were slim at Aca Y Alla, and the boy that Judith and Ella Kay both set their sights on was a pimply, oily-haired hippie with a shiny shirt of questionable color choices. His name was Eddie, and he probably never had two girls interested in him in his whole 16 years of life. But tonight was his bonanza, his jackpot, his gold mine. To her credit, Judith's friend Nancy opted out on the Eddie worship. That boy was offered up two options. Ella Kay, a temperamental, kind of whiny girl with an overprotective mother and unattractive 1970s wardrobe choices, or Judith, a gorgeous girl with a free-thinking mother and, well, it wasn't her fault that brown sweaters were having a moment. Frumpy maybe, but fashionable, technically.
I like your sweater. Did your grandma make it for you? What do you mean? I got this for my birthday.
But then again, who was I to talk? I wore long maxi dresses any time I could, and I had a cowlick that left one whole quadrant of my forehead naked even when I wore bangs. It was just how it was. It was a hard time to try to look cute. All night long, each time a couple skate was announced,
All right, now, guys and girls, it's time to find yourself a mate. It's time for couple skate.
Ella Kay tried to position herself near her target, but only once was she successful in nabbing him. The other romantic skates were saved for my sister, who held hands with Eddie. I couldn't understand the draw. He looked like he was in a disco contest and wasn't sure whether to dance or skate. His slick-looking shirt shined more than the sweat on his face after flying around the rink for an hour. Nope, I didn't get it at all. But I was 9, and I didn't know why anyone would want to skate with a boy whose hair could be a menace in a collision and get tangled up with yours. Maybe in another 4 years I might understand it. But Ella Kay was becoming more and more distressed as the night went on.
I'm fine. Everything's fine.
By the third or fourth couple skate that she had to sit out, she stopped coming back in at all afterwards. She just sat at a table, sullenly drinking her Coke. I felt like I was watching one of my great-grandma Nelson's stories, all longing and betrayal, but on skates. I hated those soap operas when I went over to Grandma's house, and after this I couldn't see how anyone could stand them. Finally, the DJ called out.
Everybody out on the floor. It's last skate tonight.
I launched back out to bomb my way around the rink a few more times before we had to leave. If I was going to have blisters on my feet tomorrow, I wanted to have a reason for it. Ella Kay did not come out. She took off her roller skates and returned them to the rental counter where the attendant sprayed the inside with disinfectant and reshelved them. Afterwards, as the lights started to come on, Judith and Eddie were avoiding joining the rest of us, and Mom sent me to tell her we were leaving. I got the glare.
Come on, I'm just the messenger here, guys.
I went back to Mom, and Judith reluctantly followed. We headed out to the car. We all climbed inside, and as we rode along for the 40-minute drive home, Ella Kay sniffled throughout the whole drive. The soap opera had returned, but there was no dramatic confrontation and no shouting. Just cola burps and a sniffly ride back to Fowler. Nancy caused no trouble at all, and politely thanked my mom when we dropped her off. I don't think Judith saw or heard from Disco Eddie ever again, and I don't know if she really even liked him. Maybe it was just nice to be chosen, trying on what it felt like to be the one someone wanted to be with. She never had trouble with that. Judith always drew attention, even when she wasn't looking for it. Fowler was a complicated time. It wasn't all roller skates and disco balls. It represented the end of our family's little Camelot, for one thing. I don't know the specifics of my parents' split, and I wouldn't share them here if I did. I do know that I didn't think they argued more than other parents, but I only had this one set. The first time I felt the foundation shift enough to remember being alarmed wasn't on roller skates. It was in the back seat, driving up Highway 52 coming back from Lafayette. I was daydreaming, watching out the window, and don't know what was said. I don't think there were raised voices. The first thing that registered to my 9-year-old ears was,
Well, maybe I should just pack my bags and leave.
"That'll grab your attention in a flash." That statement? That's a heart stopper. My mind expected the next words I heard to be,
No, don't be silly. You're not going to do that.
I could feel myself with all my might willing my mom to say that back to my dad. But I'm a Gen X kid, and we had to learn young. Some things are just broken, and no matter what you want, you can't fix them. The reply my mom actually gave to my dad was,
Well, maybe you should.
I was so shocked that I can't even tell you if my brother or sister were in the car. Everything was all about me at that moment. My world, the end of my world. I was just a kid, and my parents just said in front of me that one of them was moving away. I was sure they could hear my heart pounding through the silence in the car the rest of the drive home. But the truth was, I think they forgot I was there. We got home, and Mom parked her Maverick, Betsy Blue, in the garage. I seeped into the house, quiet as a shadow, not sure if my feet worked, with no idea as to where anyone was. No one talked. Again, I don't know where my brother and sister were. I went to the front windows and saw my dad's little orange car out front. It didn't have a name. In the house next to the cornfield, under the big black walnut tree that kills tomatoes, all was silent. We had transplanted our little family there, thinking this would be a safe place for us to grow. But in time, we found ourselves inside a toxic radius, one that withered families as well as vegetation. The stillness was barely broken by footsteps and fabric rustling. My dad carrying 2 suitcases, walking hurriedly past me without acknowledgement, out the front door and down to his car at the street. He didn't slam the door. Everything was quiet. Even his departure was quiet. Mom was in her bedroom, and I couldn't hear her either. This wasn't anger. It was devastation. It was realizing the foundation was shattered and couldn't be repaired. The only option was demolition or abandonment. I know now that my dad couldn't speak as he was leaving. I know now that he was trying to keep his own head above water. He had to put on his own oxygen mask first. I know that now, after having experienced it myself. But then I was 9 and had no such perspective to understand. As I watched him, he put the suitcases into the trunk and closed it, then climbed into the driver's seat. The orange car drove out of the shadow of the black walnut and down the street without hesitation, away from the house where I sat stone still and barely breathing. I was sure that was the last time I would ever see him. I never had a lot of friends in Fowler, but one of them lived just a block down on the cross street. I went to her house more than she came to mine. She had fun stuff to play with, and I had siblings. Her name is lost to me now, but we were in the same grade, and being in the neighborhood, it helped me a lot to have someone nearby. Still aching from the silence of my goodbye from Hershey Elementary, I was both skittish and needy about making friends. One day, not long after my parents separated, I walked down the street and rang my friend's doorbell, just as I always had. It took longer than usual, and my friend, who normally answered the door herself, didn't appear to open it. Instead, her mother came to the door. She opened it only about 6 inches, and I smiled at her and said,
Hello, is blah 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 here?
the mother's face instantly turned to disgust. She said to me,
You don't need to be coming around here anymore. I don't want my daughter playing with people like you.
I'm sure my jaw must have dropped open, as I was the same person I had been the last and every time I had ever come over. The only difference this time was that my parents were the talk of the neighborhood. We were gossip fodder now. I trudged back home slowly, studying but not really seeing the cracks in the pavement. I ran the moment through my mind over and over, trying to understand what had changed. I hadn't, but everything else had. Childhood is a time of many things, joyful things, but painful ones too. We learn through what happens to us, how to fall, how to be chosen, how to be left behind, how to keep breathing when we fear we can't. These 3 vignettes mark the moment the earth shifted beneath my family. When the gossip traveled faster than an orange car leaving the neighborhood, or a teenager scrambling to get paired for a couple skate. I wasn't the only child to experience these things. I wasn't even the only child in our family. But I didn't know how to see past my own experience then. I didn't know lots of families went through divorces. It was only talked about in whispers. It was sad, and it was scary. It felt like the end of something I didn't know how to fully name. But it taught me that even when I was alone, I would be okay. I learned how to roll here and there, Aca Y Alla, even when the pavement cracked beneath me. Because sometimes there is no other choice but to keep moving. Thank you for listening. These are my memories, and maybe they echo yours too. I must have forgotten, but I remember now. If this episode stirred something in you, please consider sharing it, subscribing, or leaving a review. Sound design for this episode includes excerpts from MuseHub and Pixabay. These audio textures help carry the memory, shape the emotional arc, and are honored with gratitude here.